Hi, I'm Ved, and this is an AI agent I've developed that writes essays. I've also developed another AI agent that's on my GitHub, but for this video, I'll be focusing on the essay writer. So if we look at the graph for this essay writer, it starts off with a coordinator node, and this node decides how many sections and which sections get written, and based on that, it generates a variable number of LLM call nodes. So each LLM call node makes a call to the LLM to write a particular section, and since the number is actually decided in runtime, we just have a dotted line here to signify that it's variable. After the LLM call nodes finish generating all the sections, they get passed to the synthesizer, and the synthesizer aggregates all the sections to produce the final essay. So if we look at the notebook, after loading the API key, I've created a section class and a sections class. So the section class just says that each section should have a name and text. The name is optional, and the sections is just an aggregation of each individual section. So I made a list of sections, and then I've passed this to the LLM so that it knows that this is the structured output that should be generated when we want each section generated. So each section will have this name and text once the LLM generates it, and we install all of this in the planner. Then I've defined the state, which will hold all the properties for this agent. So the topic will be provided by the user. The sections is just the sections that we saw up here earlier, and then we have the completed sections, which is after they've been written by the LLMs. And at the end, we'll aggregate all of it to have this final essay here. I've also created a worker state for each individual worker, which also has a section and completed sections. And since completed sections is a common name between the state and worker state, whenever there's an annotation to completed sections and something is added to it, it will get added to both worker state and state in parallel. And then below that, I've defined all the node functions. So to start with the first node, I've defined the coordinator. Um, the coordinator just invokes that planner that contains a structured output, and it gives it a prompt to generate a plan for the essay and the topic that is given by the user, and it'll return the sections that it generates as the structured output. After that, it'll then go to the LLM call, and each LLM call will just prompt the LLM to write the essay section with its respective section name and text. That'll get passed to the computer sections once it's written, which again will get passed to both the state and the worker state in parallel. The synthesizer will just aggregate all the sections, so we'll get the computer sections from the state, and then it'll join them with this format where there's a couple of lines left and then one line in the middle. It'll join all the computer sections like that and return the final essay. And then I've defined this assign workers function here just for the conditional edges, so that the coordinator node it's a function that decides how the coordinator node assigns those LLM call nodes. So I'll be using it down below once we add the conditional edges. But yeah, so once we actually build the graph, we just start off with a regular state graph, add the coordinator, LLM call, and synthesizer nodes. And then once we add the edges, we come to the conditional edges, which are here between the coordinator and the variable number of LLM calls. And again, the coordinator just adds these LLM call nodes based on this assign workers function here, which in turn is based on the states in the sections in the sections property and state. So yeah, like we saw earlier, this is the resulting graph. And if we actually use this AI agent, I've given it this topic to write an essay on the rise of agentic AI, and it's actually produced a lengthy essay on the topic. And we can actually see it's done it section by section as I've instructed it to. So here's the introduction section, definitions and characteristics section. Here's the technical foundation section, and here's the current application section. There's a lot of sections here. So I think this is a useful application of agentic AI and just LangGraph in general, since it can be used to write essays to just speed up work, but it can also be used for learning, since by providing a topic to the agent, we can produce lengthy essays on any topic that we want to learn more about. So I think it's quite useful to the user, and I've already familiarized myself with LangGraph by working on this project.